Hello everyone! We're going to be talking about cash envelopes today, and I'm super excited because I just got a new wallet. Not just, but recently got a new wallet, and I've been trying it out the last couple weeks, and I'm so excited to share with you guys some of the things that I love about it and some of the things that I wish were a little bit different, which aren't that many, but I want to talk to you guys about my current system that I'm using, and then I'm going to answer some questions that you guys put on my Instagram for me to answer about cash envelopes. So I'm going to kind of tie in a few different things with it, but the gist of what we're going to be talking about is cash envelopes. Some of the questions that I got can get kind of detailed, so I thought I'd just show a couple different things while I do this. But we're going to get started, okay? So this is the wallet that I purchased on Amazon. It was, oh, I wish I looked this up. I think it was like $19, something like that. Just about $19. And it came with these envelopes. So it came with, oh, I don't even know how many we can count together, or I could just probably look this up and put this information for you somewhere. So it's got this one, this is upside down, a cute little tree. So I'm just gonna go through these quickly. So these all came with the wallets. Like I said, it was $20, and it came with all of these envelopes for your cash using. It's kind of cool. So I typically would never use this many envelopes in one cash period. There's just absolutely no way. But I might use these. If I were to use envelopes like this, I'd probably use them for a couple pay periods until they, oh, that's pretty, it's like music. Until they started to wear down a little bit, and I probably swap them out. These are oranges. Oh, my son, I might give this to my son. Little sharks. Oh, he loves sharks. And then some, what do you call that? Leaves. And some cute little strawberries. So I didn't even count, what was that? At least 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 12. Came with 12 envelopes, so I thought that was really cool. So I'll show you where you can use these, but this is what it came with. It also came with these. They're little budget sheets that you can put in there and keep track of like what you're spending. So you can put, right up here at the top, you can put a starting balance and the amount, and then you can write the date, the description of like where you went, like McDonald's, and then the balance. So I don't know, I don't use these, but I mean, I guess what I would do there is like the amount that you spent, and then maybe what's left, like the balance. To me, it kind of seems silly that these two are backwards. I would probably put the amount there and then your balance there, but I probably won't use these. I don't like to get too caught up in the details, because that kind of overwhelms me, tracking each purchase and then like the in and outs of it. But that's just my personal preference, but you could be someone that wants to do that, and these come for free in there. Well, I guess you technically pay for them, but I feel like 20 bucks is not a lot for a wallet. And then you get these cash envelopes, you get these, and then these you can put on the envelopes to write like what they are. So I would take this label off and stick it on there and put food or whatever. The reason why I'm showing you these as if I don't use them is because I don't use those ones. I also purchased some of these little plastic inserts. So I think I was showing you guys this earlier, but so this comes hole punched, so you can put them right in there, and you can leave your cash envelopes right in here, or you can use these things. So these are my personal favorite. I just think that these are a little bit more sturdy, and they are gonna last for a little bit longer. I guess we could see together if these would fit in here, and you could do that too, maybe. No, these are a little too big, so they won't fit in there. The envelopes won't fit in there, but all right, so when you open it up, this is what it looks like. So over here I have my driver's license, my military ID, and then over here I keep food, miscellaneous, and fun. Over here, there's a little spot for you to put some stuff. I have some gift cards in there, nothing much. I don't want it to be too chunky. So like I said, my IDs are there. Maybe while I bring this closer, I'll take those out, you know, privacy. And then in here is where you can keep everything else. So in here, I'll keep my coins in here, which is where I do keep my, keep my coins in there. And then I just have like some random little like punch cards for my nail salon, and just like my military health cards that I have to have. So then I keep my debit cards, my credit card, and my Costco membership. I gotta go to Costco today. So yeah, so like this is a nice clear space for you to be able to put your IDs in there. It's kind of long, so I really don't have a lot of complaints about this. I really like it. It was $20. It's, you know, not quite as nice probably as a Kate Spade, but I find it to be super helpful. So anyways, this is how I use my cash envelopes. So I'm gonna put my IDs back in there so I don't lose them. And I'm gonna talk just a little bit more about the cash envelopes. So one of the questions that I have is what categories do you use and how many cash envelopes do you typically keep on you? I have 3. We just went over those. So I have food, fun, food, miscellaneous, and fun. I haven't used any fun money yet in this pay period or this cash period. I haven't used any food. I'm getting ready to go to Costco today, so I'm gonna use that. And I just went to Dollar Tree this morning, so I did use that. So next question, how do you keep track of separate transactions at the store? I just separate things as I'm shopping. So not often do I go to Target and need more than just certain things that I'm looking for, or maybe even Walmart or wherever, Dollar Tree. So today is actually a good example. So today I went to Dollar Tree and I went in there, I guess, for like some miscellaneous things. I also ended up picking up some stuff for my daughter's birthday. It's on Saturday, so I was like, oh, I'll just grab that while I'm here. Some like cute little decorations and stuff. So I probably spent like maybe $5 on her birthday. So when I have things like birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, things like that, I don't keep those as cash. I keep them in a sinking fund in my bank account. And this is how I keep track of my sinking funds. I'll go over this again, but I just keep track of all the money coming in and out of that bank account, and I track it on these funds. So today at the dollar store, Dollar Tree, remember, I could have split that transaction up. So it's a $15 transaction. I could have split up, so I had miscellaneous for pretty much probably like 8 items, and then my daughter's stuff was probably like 7 items. I could have split that up and been like, oh, miscellaneous is $8.23, and then you know, Mackenzie's birthday is $7.25, and I could have used my card for that and taken it out of the sinking fund that I have for her birthday, but to me that just seems really complicated. I don't typically overspend in my cash envelopes. I know that I had $7 to spare to just have it be one transaction, but sometimes when I do my grocery shopping, I do have to pick up like paper towels, or this week I have to grab Ziploc baggies and like little crock pot baggies, and I'm gonna need paper towels soon. So sometimes I do have to split that stuff up. So I will go to the register and I will do the first transaction, like the easiest one. So if I have like paper towels, trash bags, household cleaners, and maybe like some rags or something like that, I'll send that through first and I'll pay for that out of my miscellaneous. You can use whatever categories you want for these. And remember that you don't have to use mine. You can use any categories that you feel is necessary. I used to have a separate household one, but I only buy paper towels. Like I haven't bought paper towels since, I don't know, like maybe May. I also haven't had to buy general purpose cleaner in like a couple months. Like occasionally I'll buy like a sponge or like plastic baggies or just random things like that. And I did have a household one at first, and I just didn't find it to be necessary. Same with pet food. So I buy my dog pet food like once every 2 months or something. So I don't feel the need for every pay period to take cash out for my pet food. I just take it out of our miscellaneous expenses if I find that it's getting to be too much. His dog food's like $20 or $30, so I don't know, maybe I do it as a sinking fund, put $10 away until he needs new dog food in 2 months. I don't know. It hasn't been a problem for me, but you can just kind of figure out what works for you. So some people may say, you know what, I do find that every week or every time I go to the store, I have household stuff that I'm buying. So maybe create a household one, and I would personally send through the first transaction, the easiest one. So I'll pay for that, and then I move on to my food, and then I pay for my food, and I keep the 2 separate. It's really hard to see what you're spending your money on if you went to Target and bought a bathing suit, some baby wipes, some general purpose cleaner, a mop, some paper towels, and then all your food. It is kind of hard to see like all those like different transactions. I also go to the store just a little bit more often, so I know it doesn't really sound helpful, but it helps me from overspending. So I mentioned that I'm going to Costco today. Since I've moved to Colorado, this will be my 3rd time going to Costco. I don't go there all the time, but I go to like buy things in bulk. And I just find that works easier for me. I could never go to Costco once a month. We're only a family of 4, and my kids eat like birds, so it's only really me and my husband, and I don't eat that much either. So I can imagine like families that have lots of people in their family, they may need to go more often, but you might just have to budget your money a little bit differently than other people. So if I went to Costco consistently and the grocery store like my parents used to do when I was growing up, I would probably create myself like within my food category. Maybe I might try to set myself a limit of like Costco, I spend $300 a month there. That's like minimum. My parents used to go like every 2 weeks and spend minimally $300 at Costco, but like maybe $300 a month is my cap at Costco, and then my weekly groceries is like $75 a week or something. That's still like quite a bit, but it's somewhere to start with, right? So when you go to Costco, that can be your budget, and you could include your paper towels and your trash bags and things like that, but you've at least set yourself up to give yourself a limit and not just be like, sky's the limit, I can spend whatever I want in here. No perimeters around what I'm trying to do. I need this stuff, so I have to get it. And that's a conversation that I have with it's a conversation that I've had with quite a few people, mainly my dad. I have really had some extensive conversations with him about, we went to Costco when I was home, and I was trying to explain to him how when you go to Costco, you can just split this up to see what you're buying. So instead of just spending all this money at Costco and being like, well, that's how much I spend, and then I go to the grocery store and I buy all this, like just split it up a little bit. So just send it through the register first of like you're there, you don't want to go again. So you're buying your trash bags, your paper towels, your toilet paper, other miscellaneous things that he buys there. And I was like, so just see how much that is. And then, you can send your food there, and then just watch your spending for a month. Like really try to be diligent on what you're spending. So that way, when you go back, this is going to answer my next question. You can see how much you're spending in each of these categories. So one of my next questions was how much do you take out of your account versus what you keep in it? And I think what she was trying to ask is like, how do you know how much cash to take out? And then also, if you're budgeting by paycheck, because I talk about that a lot, how do you know how much to take out, and then like what kind of a buffer do you leave? I get these questions all the time, so I do leave myself a little bit of a buffer. So in my account will never fall less than $500. Sometimes it's $1,000, sometimes I'll bring it back down to $500. It's whatever I feel comfortable with. It used to be $1,000 for a while. Now I'm really gung-ho on paying off my student loans like in the next 6 weeks, 5 weeks. And so I'm trying to like tighten up every loose end, like figure out where I can get money to throw at it to be ahead of my goals that I'm trying to make, and trying to reach them ahead of time. So my account never falls less than $500. So first you may have to build up that $500 buffer, and then from there I budget out each paycheck to kind of go through and make sure that every dollar has an assignment. And I do that with my paycheck tracker. This one's from July, but I start by listing out my income. Then I list out all my expenses, so my mortgages, my husband's truck, my student loans, our tithe, gas, and then I list what I'm taking out for our cash. And then up here, I list what I'm taking out for my sinking funds. Then any money that I'm saving or extra debt that I'm paying off goes here. And this number, once you take your income minus your expenses, minus cash envelopes, minus sinking funds, minus extra debt to savings, it should be 0. So we list that out here, your income minus all those things, it should be 0. So here, extra to debt / savings, if my account is not going to be at $500, I'll put like a $40 buffer in there, whatever I need to get it back up to $500. Or if I'm just like, I want to give myself $50 to like hang out in there and not really have an assignment because who knows what could come up. So Mackenzie, she's going back to school, so I'm gonna leave my account with a little bit of a buffer because I might have to pay something random for school. I do have a school sinking fund, but if it comes up, like I don't want to think about it, I just want to pay it. I'm gonna have to bump up her lunch account so she can buy hot lunch. She usually buys hot lunch once a week. She likes to do it. It's not that expensive, I don't mind. So I'll just refill her card. I know that all those expenses are coming up, so I might just make my buffer a little bit bigger as we go back to school. So that's how I keep track of that. But the way or the way that I came to the amount of the cash that I pulled out was me tracking my expenses. So I went back to the month before and I did my best to figure out how much I spent at the grocery store. So I added up. I started this when I lived in Georgia. So I only shopped at one store. It was Kroger. So I went through and I highlighted in a green pen all my Kroger transactions. And it added up to be like 2, 4, 6, 8, probably about like $1,000 that I spent on food, probably, honestly. well, no, about 800 probably. And so I couldn't technically say if that included my paper towels, my sunscreen, my batteries, and all those other things that I might have looped into miscellaneous. But for the most part, I was spending about $800 on food. Then I went through and I kind of took, I took a yellow highlighter, whatever color, and highlighted anything that had to do with like fun. So if we went to the movies, if we went to mini golf, if we went to whatever we went and did for fun, or even if we went to a friend's house and, now I wouldn't be able to track this on there, but I would maybe use my fun money if we were going to a friend's house and I wanted to pick up like a pack of Trulies. I might pay for that with my fun money. Like technically it's food, but you know, right now, especially during the pandemic, like I don't know how often I even have been using my fun money. Typically I'll take the kids to the store and like pick something out, or we'll do, you know, buy chalk or something like that, and I'll take that out of my fun money. But so you can go through and anything you know that was fun, you can highlight, and then you can kind of see what you're left over with. What are all these extra charges? So then when I added it up, I was like, all right, 800 plus like 300 plus this. Then I was able to see like what I spent for the total month. So when I break it down into 2 separate pay periods, I was able to come up with the expenses that worked for us. So I have tweaked them along the way. We've been doing this for 2 years. I've tweaked them down to really what works with us. And honestly, I could probably tighten it up a little bit, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. And then I'll answer next what I do with any cash that I have left over. But for us, we use, I take out I take it out for the month, but I budget it out per paycheck. Every 2 weeks, I give us the amount of $300 to spend on food, so $150 each week at the grocery store. And that works a little bit differently if I have to go to Costco. Fun is $140, so fun is $120. This is backwards. Fun is $120, and I get $60, and my husband gets $60. My husband doesn't get anything for food because I meal prep, and he doesn't ever eat out. And if he does, he could just use his cash on whatever. And then miscellaneous is $140, but we each get $70. So if my husband is out and I'm like, hey, I need pet food, my husband does not do cash envelopes. He does cash spending. So I give him his money. I'm like, I'm terrible with math, 60 plus 70, it's what, 130. So here's your 130 for 2 weeks. Like you can use it on whatever you need. Typically, my husband does not spend $130 in 2 weeks. He is lucky to even use it in a month. So I usually give him his 130 and it lasts him usually for 2 weeks, for 4 weeks. So that's how we do it. So I get my cash, he gets his. He does not use cash envelopes. He doesn't really care. He's very good about his spending, so he doesn't feel the need to track it. So he does that. We don't ever use our debit card unless we are paying for gas. We use our debit card for gas. And then if it's something that's going to come out of a sinking fund, because that's in an account, that's when we don't use cash. So I hope that answered your question for how much do I take out versus how much do I leave in. I don't leave a lot. I don't leave anything on the table. So I allow my expenses to come out. I plan for my expenses to come out. I take the cash out that I've already formulated that I need. I plan for any sinking funds that I have. So like this pay period, I did $300 in sinking funds. I did 50 for beauty, 50 for clothes, 50 for planning, 50 for school, and 100 for travel and vacation. So that was $300. So now on my sinking funds paper, I'm gonna track that, and then I'm just gonna add to my checking account, transfer that right over to my sinking funds account, and then so that will subtract that. I pay into my kids $529, so that got subtracted. And then I decided based off this amount, I was able to put a certain amount to my student loans, and then my buffer is there. So I should come down to right about $500. And so that's what I do with that. I hope that answers that question. What do you do with the extra cash? I, right now, pay it to my student loans. So this one, this has my husband's cash for this pay period, but he is in training right now, so he's not home, and he's quarantining in a hotel room in, where is he? New Jersey. He's literally just sitting in a hotel room, not doing anything, quarantining, goes to 1 week of training and then comes back. So he has no need to use cash at all for the 3 weeks that he's gone. And I sent him with some, so when he's at the airport and stuff like that, like he has cash to use, but he said he didn't need any, but I sent him with some anyways because I don't want him to use that card just in case. So this is his, and then I just pulled money out like last week or the week before. This week that we're in, no, I made a deposit the other week. So this week that we're in right now, just started on Sunday, is my last 2 weeks. And then once I'm done, I'll take this cash and I'll go to the bank, and I will take my leftover cash, put it in the bank, and I will make a payment to my student loans. And then I will get cash out for the new period for the next 4 weeks. I'll divvy it out. So this is my husband's. Before, I just redid these. So before, this had my husband's stuff in it, and then my last 2 weeks for the month. So like I said, I take all of our cash out for the month at one time. That's just how I like to do it. I don't like to go to the bank. I hate going to the bank. I hear people all the time like, I don't want to mess with cash. I don't like going to the bank. I hate going to the bank. I absolutely hate it. But what I like more is having control over my money, and I just don't do well at controlling my money using a debit card. I don't. It's way easier for me to see it, count it, feel it, and miss it when it's gone. So this will be my husband's money. He'll come back to the last week, right? I don't remember, this week, next week. Yeah, so he'll come back to a new week. So I don't know, I might even be able to save all this. But so what happens is I didn't take the last time, I didn't take my cash in right on time. So I'm kind of stuck in a weird time. But what happened with my last pay period was a mixture. Oh yeah, that's right. So the last time you asked what I do when I roll my cash over. When I roll my cash over, like what do I, like if it's a new cash period, what do I do with it? I save it in an envelope, and then I bring it when I go to get my new month supply, whatever's left over, I take it. So for the month, for June going into July, because I don't know why, but it falls in usually like towards the end of the month, I was able to save $178. So what I could do is I could just take it now and go make an extra payment, or like I said, I'm kind of in a weird period. I'm just gonna wait 2 more weeks, and I'm gonna take whatever's left over, and I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that to my student loans. So I'm hoping to have like $300 to take down there and pay to my student loans. You can do whatever you want. I was talking to someone recently that was like, I think that I'd just rather, like if I saved $5 in, you know, fun and 20 in miscellaneous and 10 in food, I just want to roll it into the next pay period. You could do that. I started doing that, and then I started to challenge myself a little bit and was like, well, you know, if I'm looking for extra cash to pay off debt quicker, you know, where can I find that from? Well, you can only control so many things, right? So your expenses, like your mortgage and your fixed expenses, you can't really do much about that, but a little bit of like your variable expenses, which is like your eating and your fun and your miscellaneous and your beauty and your clothes and things like that. If you kind of pull back in those areas, you'll be able to pay more to either savings or debt, whatever you're trying to go after. So I hope that answered that question on what I do with my cash. I wait until the cash period is over, which is 4 weeks, save it up, bring it down to the bank, make a deposit, and pay on my student loans. Now, I'm really close to paying my student loans off, so what will I do when it's time to not pay any more debt off? I think I'm gonna reevaluate how much money we're taking out. We put minimally, every time I go to the bank, I'm putting away anywhere from $100 to $300. So I think I might cut back $100 between my husband and I with fun and miscellaneous. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. Not there yet. How do you manage this during the pandemic? Honestly, no different than before. If I order my groceries online, the only thing that's changed is ordering my groceries online. So sometimes I do ClickList. So that requires that I have to use my debit card, right? So what I'll do is I've already taken the cash out, right? So I did this a couple weeks ago. So I spent $96 and something cents at King Soopers on my ClickList. So I picked it up on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day that was. On Monday, I swung by the bank and deposited $96. It worked out. Like I said, I have that buffer, so it doesn't matter. I'm never gonna take my bank account below zero. So if something comes up like, oh, hey, I'm working crazy hours and I don't wanna go into the store after I just got done working at a store. I just wanna go home, I wanna have my groceries ready. I'm not gonna sweat about it. I'm just gonna place that order, use my debit card, and then pay myself back. So that's really the only thing that's changed. It does require me to be a little bit more diligent and having to go to the bank like a little bit more sometimes, but really your interaction is still pretty low. You can just insert that $96 into the ATM if you have the exact change. If not, you can go to one of those little, I don't know if your state has it. California didn't really have these, but they had them in Georgia, and they have them here in Colorado and Texas, some of the places I've lived. But the little things that like shoot up and they like go to the teller and then you do your stuff and you get it back. So I mean, your contact with people other than them touching your money is minimum. So I think that's it. So I think that's all the questions that I had for me, or that were given to me. The only other thing I wanted to go over is like how I track my spending. So I was showing you this earlier. So I went to Dollar Tree, so I'll save my receipts. I should have brought them over. I have a bunch of receipts over there. I just changed out my cash envelopes not that long ago. So I have to go back. This is the beginning of the month though, so I'm starting a new month. Today's August 4th, so I should only have a couple transactions. I can't even think of actually, well, I had a couple transactions at Target the last couple days, but it's just buying my lunch. But so I'll keep these. And then once, probably like tomorrow, I'll go through and I'll put everything down on my spending tracker. And then once I'm done with them, if it's not something that I feel like I'll have to return, I just toss my receipts. I don't keep them. I don't like junk. I hate receipts. So I try to fill out this tracker as much as possible. But here we have the date, the transaction, the category, withdrawal or deposit. Not usually am I depositing cash into my systems, like did I have a return or something like that. I probably could do without this column, to be honest. I try not to complicate things. I just kind of track what I'm doing. And then, so what I'm gonna do for the month of August is I'm gonna be really, really, really diligent on filling this out. Every single receipt I'm keeping, because I'm gonna go through at the end of the month and I'm gonna get my highlighter out and I'm gonna highlight in green all my food. I'm gonna highlight in yellow all my fun, and maybe in orange I'm gonna highlight all my miscellaneous, and I'm gonna add up how much I spent. And I'm gonna figure out if maybe I could like tighten up some categories. So that's why I use the spending tracker the way that I do, so that I can see how I'm spending, and if I need to, if I was constantly out, maybe then I'd be like, all right, what am I overspending in? I'm overspending in food. Why am I overspending in food? Oh, well, I haven't been bringing my lunch. Okay, well, are you spending too much at the grocery store if you're not bringing your lunch? That was my thing in Georgia for the longest time. I went out to lunch like every single day, but you would never know it based on the amount of groceries that I buy. So my husband's like, look, I really don't want you going out to lunch every day. I feel like that's a waste of money, but if you are, can you at least buy less groceries? Like, we throw away so much produce, we throw away meals that you prep because you don't bring them. Like, so you know, you can always like reevaluate what you're doing, what you're spending your time and money on, all those good things. So I hope that this was insightful for you guys, and you guys got to understand cash envelopes just a little bit better. I think they're kind of intimidating at first, but honestly, I could not imagine my life without using cash envelopes. Not even cash envelopes, but just cash spending. So I don't really get caught up. So if I have leftover in fun, but I'm all out of food, I'm not gonna ooh, I just had all my stuff fall out of here, all my coins. I'm not gonna not spend anything if I have some cash left over. So don't get caught up in like, oh my gosh, I'm out of fun, so now I can't do anything fun. If you have cash left over in a different category and you don't feel bad about, you know, using that, I say use it. So yeah, I'll link this in my bio if you guys are interested in checking this out. It's seriously, I don't even know what brand this is. This is just from Amazon somewhere. I don't even know. It's like $19. Like I was telling you guys earlier, it comes with 12 different cash envelopes. So if you don't want to use these plastic ones, which I highly recommend, they were like $10 for like, I don't know, like 10 or 12 of them. I don't have them on me, but I only use 3 at a time. So these are gonna stay with me for a while because these are really durable. And then I only use 3. So even when they do, you know, poop out on me, I can just put some new ones in. And, but if you're into the reusable ones, or I guess they're reusable, but eventually you have to throw them away. These are really nice, and the material is actually really nice too. It's very thick, it's glossy, it's nice. And then it comes with budget sheets. So if you wanted to do, you know, track these on here and then later put it on your main spending tracker, you could do that. So you don't have to keep your receipts. I just think this is super helpful. So I hope you guys found this to be helpful and insightful. If you guys have any other questions, please let me know. Thanks guys for hanging out.